Good morning, welcome back, and thanks for joining me. It's Judy from Thistledew Creations, and it's Friday morning, my second day off in a row. It's my weekend, really. I have to work all weekend. So I played around yesterday with some napkins and made a bunch of different types of fall and Halloween crafts. And this morning I wanted to work on cleaning up my desk. So while I was uploading a video on my phone, which is where I film on, I decided to watch a couple videos while I cleaned up my desk and figured out what I wanted to do. And one of the jobs that I did to clean up my desk was to tear the pages out of this book that had been used as glue pages and were kind of preventing the book from laying flat anymore. And as I was using this as a glue book over the last several months, I was thinking as I was turning the pages that there was a lot of white space that I could use to stamp on. So this morning I thought to get myself kind of warmed up and use up some of this paper that I would do some stamping. This is thicker than regular copy paper. It's got a nice texture to it. It's all white, but I can ink it. And what I thought I would do is get out some of my postage mark stamps and maybe a few Halloween ones. I grabbed a few and they're right behind me if I want to grab a different one. So yesterday, because I worked with the napkins, I've got this pile of the white parts that I tore off the napkins. So I'm going to put that down to stamp on. I've heard that that gives you a better impression. And I'm going to use my biggest stamp block. I've got 3 of them here. I can't find my little solid one. It's here somewhere. But I got these ones at a dollar store when I went last year with my sister, and it does work. It doesn't have the weight of the solid acrylic ones, but it does work. So I thought I'd start by doing some frames. This is like a label frame with the rounded ends, and then one with ribbon ends. I like that one too. And we've got a little tiny envelope. I'm leaving enough room to fussy cut around them. I could almost just stamp this whole page. I like pretty much everything on this set. This is the one I've used for my swatching my watercolors. It's another little one. Well, these aren't going to be easy to cut out because I haven't got them all lined up. I should almost think about that. If I line up the top edge of those, then when I'm fussy cutting them, it'll be one stripe across there. And then this one, a little more room. Sometimes pays to be just a little bit strategic about what you're doing. Okay, so I'm going to start with these ones. And I started to pull out my archival ink, and then I realized that's a tiny little stamp pad. So I thought I would grab some of these larger ones instead. And I pulled out some colors. So I've got red and green, which will make good frames to use for Christmas time. This isn't going to quite make it, like that one will be cut off. I guess what I was thinking was that some of these could just be labels with random numbers in them. Maybe I should load it up with plainer ones like that. Although these could be numbers too. Let's just start with what we have. We'll do a green stamping. I've not used this stamp pad yet. I think Wanda gave me this one. Garden Green, Your Next Stamp. Premium dye ink pad made in the USA. So I'm going to just load it up. And I'm just going to do this. See what we end up with. I'm letting it sit for just a second and pressing but not moving it. Well, it's a pretty green. We'll do another. We'll just do one page of each color. I think I might have a blue that I could use too. And I look at some of the labels that they sell on Temu, and there's not much more going on in the background than this. Like, it's just sort of gobbledygook. So I figure, why can't I do that? And I'm gonna do a postage cancellation stamp one down where it's white. You don't usually see that in green ink, but and then I've got this other little one. I could do this round one on it. It'll fit. A little bit close. Be a little warranty stamp. And I think if you stamped darker word through the middle here, you wouldn't even notice what was going on in the background. So I'm just going to do a bunch of these pages. I'm going to do a few and then we'll cut some out to see how they turn out. So this one doesn't, this has some blank space, but it does have some glue on it. Let's switch to the red. I don't want a ton of any one color. It'll be interesting to see how bright this red is. It's a good red. And it is called Hollyberry Red. So it'll be a good one for Christmas labels. So far, I think it's going to be good. Maybe find me a blue, red, green, blue. I don't think I'll do black ink on the, because there's so much black on the page already. I think what I would like to do is some dark brown ink. this works out, what I might do is coffee dye some of the pages before I stamp. It's not something I would normally bother to coffee dye, but it's making me, doing this makes me think that maybe it could work out quite nicely. And this way I've already used this as a glue page. Now it's getting its third life as labels. And what made me think of this was doing the feathers that I did last week in the music book, my ink book, and how I did them in the margins, and they turned out great. Okay, let's see if out of blue. I didn't pull out a blue. So let's see about a blue. Got a mossy green. I've got a turquoise. It's a large stamp pad. I'll use it. It's a Forever in Time, so it doesn't say a color. For the page. This one doesn't have any white spots. Ooh, that one kind of went purple because it still had some red on it. That's neat. Page of this. I can ink these up while I watch television. I could probably do this part while I watch television, but I never think to bring everything over there with me. I do a lot of fussy cutting. Right now I'm inking some blank spots out of a book. There, we got kind of purple that time too. This one should be more blue. These would be the reason I would be making these would be to use them in clusters and collage, or to decorate envelopes. Just fodder. Instead of flowers and feathers, I'm just doing something a little bit more industrial looking, I guess. Getting my fingers all inky, but I think it'll wipe off. Yeah, this one isn't great, not where I'm putting it anyway. A couple over here. I'm not sure what that is supposed to be. I guess that's just me pressing that's causing that little weird shape, because it's not in the design. It should be on a block. Okay, so before I let this go on and on and on, let's do some cutting. Green ones should be dry by now. So with these postage stamp ones, I would probably make them look torn. I often cut these out with my ripple scissors. I may have to run and grab them. And I tend to use this stamp more over top of the faux postage stamps that I made. But it could easily decorate an envelope just as it is. I'll show you what I mean by my postage stamps. I did a video not too long ago where I made up a bunch with little tiny pictures of flowers out of a seed catalog. And then I put book page in behind some of them. And put some brown paper in behind others. I've given a lot of them away already. But you can go back and watch that video. Postage stamps have been done with so many different types of pictures that you can do just about anything as a postage stamp if you've got a tiny little picture. They come in all different themes. Grab my ripples. These are my favorite ones. And I'll show you. This makes it look more like it's torn off of an envelope. And you do it this way. You could even tear it in a rectangle shape and kind of follow in the stamp shape. And then these little rounds, this works great for them. And I do have some single letter stamps that I could make words and put in there. Same with them, the postage stamp one. So if you're wondering what this book is, it's a catalog for plumbing products. A lot of you might already know, but I'm a kitchen designer, kitchen and bathroom designer. So when we have this 2024 price list, we got a new price list. So I bring the old ones home and use them as glue books. Pull out any pages that I might be able to use, like blank pages or lined pages where there might be a place to make notes. This one is a smoother edge, so I'm going to use the regular scissors. This black line won't be great. You can go as close or as far from the edge of the stamp as you want. It's kind of strange with the writing in it, but I think you could always just put a little picture over top. Now this one has that sort of postage stamp edge, this particular little stamp. So I'm going to do the torn looking edge around it. I do have postage stamp scissors, but they're much bigger design than this, so it wouldn't look right. And then this one again is smooth. So I'm going to do it with the normal scissors. So these ones with the random numbers in them, you don't even realize what it's from. Now this one with the picture of the shower valves, a little weird, but might be able to find somewhere to use them. Now this little envelope has a bunch of little bits of weird stuff on the corner here. So I'll just kind of do my own zigzagging around it, and then I'll do straight edges for the envelope itself. This one is fairly straight lines. try to do those in one slice of the scissors so that it's very straight, and then try to do it so that it's not running crooked. That one went a little crooked on me. There's another one of the envelopes. Let's do this half of the page so we get kind of one of everything. And I'm just leaving a small border around. Easy to fussy cut straight things. If you tend to overcut, go like this, and so that you can't cut any further than the tip of the scissors. And this one just has a couple of little random numbers in it. So maybe not the best example, but I can put a word or something on top of that. And then this one, I'm going to just rough cut it first, just to get it away from the page. And then I'll go in, do my little border around. I like to keep that little edge around the stamped image, rather than trying to cut right on that stamped edge. Try not to have any little pointy spots in your cutting on your curves. And then I'll do a couple of these, and we'll do some inking so that we can see how they're going to turn out. This one I got into that hole, so that could be something I layer underneath something else. You don't have to toss it. You can still use it. Always, you can hardly ever see all of any one element in a collage. So you just strategically place it where something else is going to overlap it. Okay, so let's do our vintage photo with these and just see how much that changes it. Now I'm going to put a piece of paper down to ink on, because I want to do some of this, where I'm going to go off the edge, and then I'll go around the edge and darken that up further. All of a sudden it isn't white anymore, and this would be easy to do in front of the TV. I would need like a book or something. I lay in my hammock while I watch TV, so I have to have like a lap desk or something if I'm going to do something that requires a surface. But yeah, what a difference. And then the accidental thing that you get from doing this is you get a cool outline collage on the page you're inking over. I did one where it was leaf shapes, and it just turned out so good by accident that I then went and did a whole page of leaf shapes with the ink and did a video of it, so you could go back and watch that too. So this step wouldn't be necessary if you started with coffee dyed. So what I may do is, instead of throwing the rest of these in the garbage, I'm going to throw them in my coffee dyeing box. And then the next day that I do coffee dyeing, which will probably be soon as Brian gets the wood stove on and it's nice, cozy, day in the house and a cold blistery day outside, I will spend the day coffee dyeing. I haven't really done much this summer. Although I could have done it yesterday. I was cold yesterday. I could have had the oven on to warm me up. I do like the way the darkened edge looks, so that's why I go around it as well. It looks like it's been torn out for a while and has aged. So I don't think I'll be buying very many more Temu labels, unless they're more special that I wouldn't be able to make them myself, because I got a bunch of them. They're not expensive, but that's not the point. The point is just that there's really nothing special to some of them. Like these little ones are just basically what I've been doing. Just numbers out of a ledger or something that have been cut up. These ones, just a bit of text on a reddish background, cut out in a rectangle. It's not a label from something. It's just a random piece that they've cut these shapes out of. So I just thought that using the stencils or the stamps to get the shapes, I could also get a die cut that would do them, right? And that would make it even less work. Maybe I'll get my die cutting machine out today. I haven't played with it in a very long time. And I'm sure I must have some fall stuff that I could be doing with it. But yeah, I'm kind of pleased with how these are turning out. Like you say, they're not much different than what I'm buying on Temu, so why wouldn't I just make my own? And you could do this inking while they're still on the page too. That would make that a little easier. Maybe do that for the next one for you before I cut them out. I'm not going to do all of them, but I'll do a few more of each color. That one went real dark. Must have been where there was some glue. So that could really affect how it accepts the ink if there's glue on it, which these will have because this is the used pages out of my glue book. And that, so I'll get rid of that line. And that line, a little bit of black. I like the way that this stamp has the little dots on it. It almost looks like splatter. Oops. This is, you know, I get more chances to get it on my fingers when I'm trying to do it this way. So I'm going to do it the other way next time and we'll see if that makes it easier. I know it will. So let's do a few of the red ones and we'll go ahead and ink them first. So yeah, this is a lot easier because you're not trying to hold this tiny little piece. Of course, you can ink them any color. Like the kits that I buy from Temu, they have red, green, blue, beige, black. So you could make them any color you want. If you did black ink, you could use, like for the stamping, if you use black ink on white paper, then you could have any color of tag that you want, or label. That one's not going to work out very well where it's got the black. And of course you could use the brushes too. This just happens to be here and this works okay. I like those blending brushes too for this kind of inking. Much easier. I recommend you do it this way. Okay, then see how these red ones look. I'll do one round one for you. This one's going to have a little bit of black edge. I'll pay more attention to that when I'm stamping. Keep away from those black edges unless I can incorporate it into the design somehow. And then when that one is inked around the very outside edge, of course I wouldn't really need to do that now. I could do that. I could just do this part, that much before I do this step. Sorry. And then when I go to use it, I can ink it real quick. So here, I'm going to get between those two. I didn't space those very well. And this is odd with the numbers right down in the edge, but that's, you do see that on the Timu ones for sure. Some of them don't even have an edge stamped. It's just a shape cut out of something. So I'm just going to rough cut across here. Get these 3 rectangle ones. So I've put my Etsy shop on vacation mode during the postal strike because so many of the things that I sell are too small to ship by the other couriers for a reasonable price. We don't have pirate ship in my area in Canada, and the ones that we do have, they only have drop-off spots or pickups in major cities, and I'm too far away from a major city to do even a weekly, even a monthly. I don't want to go to Toronto every month to ship my packages, and most people aren't going to accept a up to 30-day wait time anyway for me to ship it. So once the postage strike is over, I'm hoping to have listings in my shop for some of this kind of stuff. And if I can start selling it, I will make a bunch of it. I have lots of materials that I can make these kinds of labels on. Especially catalogs with price lists in them. So like I said, I might not do the outline inking as I go normally, but I'm doing it just for the sake of the video for you. I would probably do more of a mass make, stamp them all, ink them all, cut them all, and then ink the edges. And it might happen over 3 or 4 nights watching TV, not all at once like this. Okay, so let's do a few of the bluish purple ones. And then we'll go on to something else. So I'll ink first. Much, much, much easier this way. We're not averse. We don't have an aversion to hard work, but we do want to make it easier and quicker when we can. I find with some of my things, I'm self-taught at work, and some of the things that I've done for years a certain way, because it was the only way I knew, and then we hire newer people, and sometimes, usually younger, people that have grown up with computers instead of learning to use a computer later in life. And they know all these shortcut ways to do things, and I've learned a lot from my younger co-workers in that regard. Cover up my blue ink before it dries out on me. And I'll just cut a couple of these, and we'll do something else, maybe start a new video even. I have trouble cutting circles. One hint that I've said a few times on here, of course you've got, with this, you've got something to follow and you're not trying to cut it exactly. The ripple scissors are very forgiving as well. As long as you keep your space fairly equal, it's going to look okay. But what I also do, I'll move the paper instead of the scissors. That's a tip that everybody tells you. But what I also do that I haven't heard anyone else really talk about is I kind of pull my scissors to the right. I'm right-handed, so of course my scissors are on the right. And I kind of, not forcefully, but just so that I don't do this, I make sure that I keep that tip pointing straight up and move the paper. That's the biggest thing, is moving the paper instead of the scissors. And it just takes practice, and eventually you'll be able to do circles just as easily as if it was off of the die cut machine. In fact, sometimes if you only need one, it's easier to just cut it out than to get it out of the box or wherever you have it stored. So there's two of those. Let's do a couple of the rectangle ones and then we'll lay them out, take a picture. And so these ones were more purpley because they had the red ink. And you'll get better at doing those rounded corners by hand too, just with practice. I never used to be able to do them at all, but I'm just getting better and better at it. Again, scissors aren't moving, just the paper moves. So that one's pretty plain. Let's do one of the postage stamp ones. These ripple scissors make cutting things out so much easier, because you don't have to be so precise, especially if you're leaving an edge. Okay, so that is that in a nutshell. I'm just going to lay them out here for my picture. I probably would use them with the words right side up and the numbers right side up where possible. So I think I'm going to have a lot of fun doing these. Not as creative as those ladies who are doing all the flowers. But not everything is flowers. I've done some flowers too. Yeah, I really like those. So thanks for joining me. Stay tuned and we'll do some more stamping and stenciling and fun stuff with ink. I'll use up these pages, but also I've been starting a new ink book where I do ink art pages and ink fodder and all sorts of fun things. So do join me. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. But most of all, have a great day and happy crafting.